Being an avidly keen huntsman, Adonis did whatever he could to go out in the forests to track animals and to kill them.
We are here today because our ancestors survived long enough to reproduce. Although we're quite far removed from that animal heritage, traces of it linger in all of us. I, for example, know that one of my great-great-grandfathers was an owl 800 years ago. The closest I got to knowing my owl ancestors, that's on my father's side, was that I knew my grandmother, Angela. She first met my grandfather in the 5th century in Athens. She went a-wandering in the woods and she didn't like this tree, that she saw this tree. Maybe she thought, maybe it reminded her of this boy, maybe a boy who had sucked his thumb or his nose, or this girl, when the girl had turned into a tree, this girl had wiped her nose at the dinner, or there was something about this man who was speaking and this woman who she had turned into a tree. 800 years ago, on a battlefield encampment, a young man woke in the middle of the night to relieve his bladder. He left the safety of the tent for the cool night air, and it was then that he saw a shimmering on the horizon. He thought at first, what a beautiful lake lit by the light of the moon. But soon he realized that in fact it was the moon, light reflecting off the armour of the enemies. He woke his comrades at once, and they surprised the enemy, who had been expecting to surprise them, and they were victorious in battle. You see, he was an owl, a night watchman, a spirit of the air whose call is haunting and which warns of coming death. Thus the motto, which is passed down from generation to generation: be watchful. Angela died 4 years ago in England after having lived most of her life abroad. She reminds me of the salmon who are born in the upper reaches of a stream or river, and they travel downstream, spend their life in the ocean, travelling thousands of miles away from their native home. And when they're ready, they return to the mouth of the river, and they travel, they swim upstream against the current, and they lay their eggs in the place of their birth, and then they die. I wish I was, my baby was born, and sitting on his papa's knee, and me poor girl was dead and gone, with the green grass growing over me.
Aphrodite, being smitten with the young man, would do anything to please him, although she lacked skills in archery. Rambling the hills, hunting in the scorching sunshine. Once, though, she left him briefly to attend to some business elsewhere, and as she parted, she warned him, "Be watchful.